Hey, Zach,
What?
don't you just hate Argentina?
Hey, a lot of people seem to right now.
Yeah, and you know what? Me too. Yeah, I'm on the hate train now. I'm on the bandwagon.
Right. You didn't seem so mad when you were running around the room when they scored.
There's been something on my mind that's kind of been disturbing me. It just kind of surrounds the conversation and the way that we're talking about some of these games, and especially how we're talking about certain teams as opposed to other teams, which is kind of ironic, and I'll get to in a second. But I think this whole the 2022 World Cup was rigged conversation has kind of reared its ugly head in this year's edition of the tournament because man, the amount of just vitriol I've seen online about how things are rigged for Argentina with no substantive argument is it just blows my mind.
It's baffling. Yeah.
Where should we start? I mean, I think it kind of got to a point in the Egypt game, but there were some inklings of it against Cape Verde as well. For the Cape Verde one, the one that I see is when they went to extra time and how people were saying, "Oh, they stopped the stoppage time right at 123 minutes." But for Croatia, they get to play like 6 minutes over time when at least in my mind, I remember Portugal celebrating and time wasting, so the ref added extra minutes to the clock
And there
or
were
just let it run.
subs.
Yeah, and there were subs too. And then we go to Egypt where they blow a 2-0 lead and everybody said that was rigged even though nobody told Egypt to let in 3 goals. And then against the Switzerland game, I mean there's people arguing the Embola red card.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of clear the Egypt issue out real quick. If you're 2-0 up and it's 14 minutes left, you really shouldn't lose. I think something just switched in Argentina, and I mean, they got it back, bro. I mean, we kind of talked about moments of, Argentina got lucky in the Switzerland game, but it was because somebody did something stupid. But that's part of the game. This stuff happens. And any way you slice it, I mean, Egypt fouled. I mean, that's kind of not disputable. Like, it was a foul. Obviously, we had talked about this previously. The controversy comes in, they had let the play go on, right? So, like, come on, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you got a call and VAR's talking, you just stick to it, right? You shouldn't lose that. And it's only rigged because they lost.
Yeah,
Um,
because comebacks have never happened in soccer before, right?
right. I believe, like, even if the game went to extra time, Argentina's still gonna win. Obviously, we'll never know that, right? But it's more. I feel like the calls in that game and what people are saying is more gambling that the game would have gone to extra time rather than Egypt winning.
And let's not forget that the Egypt attacker should have gotten a yellow for taking his shirt off, and he didn't.
So I don't know. It goes both ways,
Yeah, I
obviously.
mean, referees let things slide all the time in games. That just happens. Like whether or not they dictate the games to your preference, that's one thing. But I mean, I don't like to call officiating bad just because it happened to a team that I like. If there's a call that doesn't go Arsenal's way in the Premier League, like I'm not gonna sit in my chair and stew about how it was rigged. I mean, it just if it's something super egregious, then yeah, I may get riled up over it. But I'm not gonna say like there's an agenda or anything, against what's going on.
Even on the Egypt counterattack, we've seen calls like that. I can remember vividly when Arsenal played against Madrid in the Champions League, right? This was the game that obviously Declan Rice went stupid. But at the beginning of the game, Saka got a penalty because there was a corner kick. I think it was him. Yeah, Saka got fouled in the box. He just got dragged down. The play kept going, and then they reviewed it after about maybe 15 seconds
Hmm.
whenever Madrid lost the ball, and we got a penalty for it. Obviously, Saka tried to do a Panenka and he missed. But I mean, I've clearly seen stuff like that. And would that have fully dictated how the game went? I mean, possibly, right? But like, it's not like this call just magically happens whenever it's Arsenal.
moving to this last game against Switzerland, we talk about the Embolo yellow card. I mean, another thing that people were saying was that, VAR doesn't usually intervene in decisions that aren't in the box, unless it's like a possible red card, but they usually wouldn't check for something like that, simulation or, mistaken identity. But there was a rule change earlier this year that allowed the officials in the World Cup to check for those types of yellow cards outside the box. And
Mhm.
that's just what we saw happen. And to kind of circle back to my main point is that I saw somebody on social media kind of put it in a really succinct way where essentially you don't need to have a reason to not like anything, especially a team that is playing in a soccer tournament. So you can just come out and say that you don't like Argentina, that you don't like Messi. Like you don't have to give a reason for that. You can just not like anything. Like there are movies where I just don't like. I don't have a reason for it. They just don't vibe with me. I don't have to explain that. And you don't have to explain if you don't like Argentina or if you don't like, England because they get calls in their favor in this tournament too. Like you don't have to then, misrepresent the rules of the game and the things that happen on the pitch because then now you're the one who's also being biased. And what's worse is that you're kind of poisoning the discourse for people who are getting into this sport, who are going to become new fans of this sport, and they're going to be confused about how things happen the way they do.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I mean, yeah, there are teams I don't like. As you were saying, there are movies you don't like, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, put it on a level where it's like, okay, clearly there's something else going on. Clearly, they're Argentina's paying the refs. Argentina's this, Argentina that. These are the returning champions, right? And obviously, the last World Cup, I heard some stuff about being rigged, whatever, right? Again, what you were saying, like it's just a lot of it is baseless, to be honest. And again, I had said it already. There are moments of luck. Teams get lucky. I mean, you have Emi Martinez saving penalties. You know, not every keeper is capable of saving the penalties, right? But that's what he does, and that honestly was one of the things that kept them in. There are just certain things that happen to teams, and it doesn't have to be all about, oh, this is the ref's fault. Oh, this is FIFA's fault. Like, no, I mean, as you were saying, just say you don't like the team. No, I think you really hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. It's literally what you and I were saying in our round of 32 video, Croatia against Portugal. Like, I'm not going to come out and say that I think that the game was rigged in Portugal's favor because that's not true. Like
Absolutely not.
Croatia blew it with the foul in their box.
And they also had at least three other chances to score.
Yeah, like, I don't think that call at the end of the game was the right call based off of the information that I saw, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it was rigged because Portugal's a bigger team,
Mm-hmm.
Like with the implementation of VAR, I mean, it's good for the game in my opinion, but these things can still happen. And I know it sucks when it goes against the team that you're rooting for or the team that's on your parlay, but it happens.
Mm-hmm.
When something is truly egregious, then we make some noise about it. But
Right.
when people cry wolf like this, I think it just kind of takes away when, things are actually, kind of set up in somebody's favor.
It kind of takes away the joy a little bit when you set up that kind of narrative, even for yourself. Imagine you thinking the game is rigged and then you watch the World Cup final with Argentina in it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, imagine you're actually believing that the entire tournament is fixed and it's rigged, and then you can't even enjoy watching the World Cup final. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's really even putting it on yourself, and especially new people that are coming, as what you were saying, like new people who are trying to get into the sport. And kind of what you were saying, like VAR is a good thing. It is a good thing. And it kind of twists the narrative into making people believe that these calls happen all the time in every single game, and they don't. Just
Mhm.
flat out, they don't. Croatia, you had just talked about that call. That's call's an anomaly. Like, does that call happen very often? No. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, even the call in Argentina, that doesn't happen all the time. It's not, and much less happen to Argentina all the time, right? I think there's a level in that VAR and the refs are trying to make the game as fair as possible. At the end of the day, it's up to the team and the individual players that are on it. Refs can't score the goals. There's certain stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's got to be more of a focus on just kind of enjoying the game. And Argentina plays such an attractive game of football. Like, I'm telling you, them in France, like, it's
Mhm.
beautiful to watch. So maybe focus on the actual game and just appreciate it. That's the only thing I'd say.
We've got 4 games left in this tournament. I hope when this video comes out, maybe it'll be 3,
Yeah.
but, there's probably going to be more bad calls, some maybe very bad calls, but, there's gonna be neutral calls and good calls too, so
Hmm.
let's
That's
just
how the game goes, man.
let's just focus on the ones that, are clear and obvious errors and not get hung up over minuscule uncertainties because, as soon as we start asking like what if this and what if that, like that's the point where like my brain just kind of turns off because it's like we'll never know
Hmm.
what would have happened. I mean, yeah,
How do you think they're going to do in their next matchup against England?
they're really scrappy. I mean, something needs to change before this game with England because I think that the best tool that Argentina kind of has right now is unpredictability. Because let me say this, there's definitely a reason why Scaloni hasn't played certain players in this World Cup. Probably because, he just has more trust in the people that he has on the field right now.
Hmm.
But I think there are definitely players that can provide qualities to help Argentina in transition. That helps Argentina because right now the midfield is really, I guess, slow on the ball and they're not really comfortable in that transition. But yeah, something definitely has to change. I mean, the football gods could be on their side, but on paper, kind of those scrappy wins, it's not enough to play a team like England. I mean, we talked about it the other day how Argentina hasn't really faced a really elite side until England, but at the same time, England hasn't really faced an elite side either in my opinion, except for maybe Norway. But yeah, I think Argentina needs help on that transition and they really need to they need to change it up.
I think I agree. I think it for me though, it more comes in the defensive end of the field. That transition from okay, we're getting counterattacked. They got broken down twice by Egypt on counterattacks, Cape Verde by counterattacks. Like I think that's one of their biggest flaws. Obviously we saw Paredes clutch a 3v1 and that was a moment of just intelligence, and that probably saved them the game against Egypt, right? But they need to do better defensively as a team, and I think the reason why they haven't made as many subs is just because I mean, you subtract, probably their second most influential player of the last World Cup, Di Maria, it's the exact same team that won it. I mean, realistically, it's the exact same team. You have a lot of trust in those guys because they've done it before. They've played the 120 minutes before. They've done the penalty shootouts before. And it's a team that I think fully trusts each other, especially when they're attacking and when they have possession in the ball, because you see forward passes and you see creativity that you see in no other team besides probably France, right? But yeah, defensively, something needs to change, especially with a team that's so good at finishing like England is. And it just boils down to okay, Argentina's just better individually. They can, Julian Alvarez, moment of brilliance, like you have goals like that. And that's the kind of stuff that kind of really saves them, you know? But as a team, as you were saying defensively, you shouldn't be giving up 2 goals, like you shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff, especially after winning it. So yeah, I agree with you on pretty much all of that. I just think it's more of a defensive issue rather than attacking. I think they really need just one person that can just they can rely on one tactic they can rely on to always score. Because it seems like they rely a little too much on that off the fly creativity to score the goals.
Hey, you're probably looking at our end screen right now. The best way to support us is to like and share the video
All the support means a lot. Feel free to join the Discord if you want to engage in more conversation.
Or follow us on Instagram.
or TikTok.
That's true. We do have a TikTok.
Yeah, we'll link it all in the bio. It's all in the Discord. Join up, and we'd love to talk to you guys.
See you in another week.